We got a fight of the year already at the beginning of the year, okay? A great first card on UFC Paramount Plus. Were there some hiccups? Sure, but guess what? It's $8.99. I'll take it. And possibly the greatest Saturday night's main event in history. We got a lot to cover. Welcome to the very first episode of the Knockout with Niles Niseem. It's time, baby. And we are back with the first episode of the Knockout with Niles Niseem with your boy, Niles Niseem, your host with the most. When you see me on screen, it's time for me to take you from pillar to post on all things combat sports. Now here, we're going to talk about everything from MMA, Muay Thai to WWE, AEW, everything that has to do with combat sports. And yes, you can sit there and say, wrestling is a combat sport. It is. It's got a little mess. Whether you call it real or fake, you go do it. But I like talking about it all here because I love all of it here. And guess what? UFC and WWE are under the same company. And it's my show, so I talk about what I want. Anyway, listen. What a way to start off the very first episode of the series, because UFC 324 was worth every penny and more. First of all, the main card, minus a couple other things, was pretty good. It was pretty good. But that main event was something special. It was something out of a movie. I cannot explain just how much fun I had, how invested I was. That's as best as it can go. But two things can be right at once. Let's go ahead and break it down, okay? First of all, we have to give props to Justin Gaethje. Late 30s, 37, I believe, years old, actually making a run for a second interim title. Can't remember the last fighter that actually has two interim titles in their career. But man, Justin Gaethje, he's just a dog. What you saw out of that fight was old school Gaethje, World Series of Fighting Gaethje. If you don't know what World Series of Fighting is, that is the PFL before it was called the PFL. This was Justin Gaethje where he really was the highlight before Trevor Whitman, before there was really any kind of finesse or tactical game planning to his style or any technique. This was just go out there and smash. That's what Justin did, okay? This is like a return to form. He went out there and absolutely battered Paddy Pimblett. It was wild. It was reckless, but it was effective. And what can you say? Okay, Paddy did what he could do to stay on the feet and try to hold on him. I was a little surprised that Paddy didn't try to strike with him in order to take him to the ground. You actually saw Justin doing more of the grappling with that front face lock and dragging and really pulling Paddy down and putting his weight on him. I thought the game plan would be different. Now, here's the thing I can say about Paddy. He stood toe-to-toe with him. He stood toe-to-toe with him. Actually came back and took a round off of him in the third round. But again, we've already lamented about how Paddy has some defensive deficiencies when it comes to keeping that chin up, okay? When it comes to that guard, not being able to use that hand fighting, being able to block, and really being able to return. Now, he can throw with a lot of output, and he has a lot of sting on his punches. He actually outstruck Justin, but the issue is that Justin just packs a punch. When you leave a Justin Gaethje fight, you look like you left a Justin Gaethje fight. He just tears your face apart. You look unrecognizable, and that was the problem. Justin looked unmarked. Paddy looked like he got smacked with a baseball bat. And damage is a part of the scoring system. We've seen this happen before. Remember the Zhang Weili and Joanna Jędrzejczyk fight? Yeah, Joanna outstruck Zhang, but Joanna looked like E.T. after the fight. The damage, it catches up to you. So we come to this point where I got to give it up to Paddy because he just doesn't die. Lesser men have been taken out by lesser shots by Justin Gaethje. And Paddy went 5 rounds standing toe-to-toe with Justin. And he hurt Justin a couple times too, along with Justin hurting him multiple times as well. But it was a clear victory for Justin Gaethje. A clear victory for Justin Gaethje. There were some fouls in there. Okay, good Lord. Those eye pokes were egregious, and that nut shot by Paddy was kind of insane. But what you have to understand is that this was just a fight of the year in the sense of what a dog both of these men are. What a dog both of these men are. Great, great fight. With that being said, Ilya smokes both of them. And I hate to say it. Actually, I don't hate to say it because I do love Ilya, but I don't want to disrespect these fighters. But the fight I saw cannot happen against Ilya Topuria. It cannot. Or it is Nap City, Night, Snore Fest, Snoozy Doo, Comatose. Absolute. If they fight Ilya the way, if Justin Gaethje comes out there like World Series of Fighting Justin Gaethje and tries to fight Ilya Topuria the way he fought Paddy, he's getting put to sleep, sent to the hospital. You saw what happened with Charles. You saw what happened with Volk. You saw what happened with Max. When you engage with Ilya out in his range, there is nothing you can do. Bring your pillow and your blanket because you're going to sleep in that octagon. And Ilya probably would have beat Paddy and Justin in the same night, if that's how they're going to fight. I'm not saying that these two fighters don't have the skills to beat Ilya, because they do. But if they fought the way that they fought on Saturday, they get the lights pulled out. And I can see why people are frustrated, because they don't think that this should have been an interim title shot in the first place. But you gotta love the parity. So here's what I say. Charles and Max are already booked up. Paddy and Arman. Most people think that Arman is going to steamroll Paddy. I don't know. We'll see. You put Justin in there with Ilya. I love Justin. Great fighter. Fun fighter. I think Ilya is going to knock his head off. I think he's going to knock his head off. And I already know where it's going to come. Justin's going to get wild in exchange. It is going to loop. He's going to use his boxing head movement and his footwork to get inside. He's going to catch Justin with a hook. Night-night. Say your prayers. But before we get to that, what a fight. What a fight. Incredible main event. I'm inspired. I probably should go to therapy, though, if that's what's inspiring me. Next, co-main event, Song Yadong versus Sean O'Malley. Great win by Sugar Sean. It wasn't a robbery. Stop it. Everyone keeps saying that it was a robbery. It wasn't a robbery at all right? What you got here was a very close fight. The first two rounds could have gone either way. I think you get the first to Sean, second to Yadong. You might switch that. Depends. But the third round was definitive. The third round was a deciding factor. Sean finally found his flow state, was absolutely piecing up Sean. I mean, what Sean can do when he finds his flow state and he gets his opponents at range, it's insane. He can really piece some people up. He really, really can. And it's hard to stop him once he finds that shot. Yadong was doing great. I mean, he was very explosive. He was putting combinations together. He was grappling against Sean O'Malley. He was negating space. But in that third round, Sean found it, put it on him. And listen, Sean is not is Sean the best in the world? No. Is he one of them? Yes. On any given night? Yeah. He really is that good. He really is that good. He is not just some run-of-the-mill fighter. Yes, he's had some setbacks, but Sean can go. Sean really can go. And when he finds that flow state, it's nasty. And you know what? I want him against Sandhagen. I don't know why that matchup hasn't been made already. I don't know what they're waiting for. But Corey Sandhagen versus Sean O'Malley, if you know ball, that's a banger of a fight. That's a banger of a fight. Especially if this was old Sandman, where Sandman really loved to strike. Now, his, grapple the strikers, strike the wrestlers. Smart game plan. But if these two can go out there and have a striking match, you're going to see some crazy stuff, especially with both those long, linky body types. Oh, yeah, it's going to be a fun fight. It's definitely going to be a fun fight. Put those two together. As for Yadong, I got to figure out who I want him to fight right now. Maybe Umar? Maybe. It's weird. Song is in such a weird place because he really is an elite bantamweight. Just that sometimes in the big fights he's just not able to get done. But he's just good. Close fight with Jan. Decent fight with Sandhagen. Yadong is a great fighter. We got to see where we're going to match him up soon. But bantamweight is doing what it needs to do right now. And, now with Jan as champ, this opens up a whole new door of things. But I keep forgetting, now that Jan is champ, they're probably going to run Jan and O'Malley back. So there goes my dreams of Sandhagen O'Malley. It is what it is. All right, here we go. Now, Akostas versus Lewis. I'm not going to talk about this fight for long. There's nothing really to talk about. I think Derek Lewis is done. Play the music. Wrap it up. It's over. Akostas was faster, which we knew he was going to be. He was more sound defensively, which I thought was the reason why Derek Lewis was going to catch him, because he does a lot of these herky-jerky rope-a-dope movements and doesn't really block shots sometimes, especially when you get him up on the cage. But he was just too fast for Lewis. He was too fast for Lewis. He was piecing up Lewis. He was keeping him at range, really nullifying his thing, nullifying his power. Lewis was just swinging heavily. And Lewis always going to be that type of person that overswings to connects. But this time he was missing by a country mile. I mean, good Lord. The brother couldn't throw a golf ball into the ocean with his punches. It just wasn't hitting anything but air, oxygen. just nothing. And the problem is that, that ending sequence when he got caught with that jab and slipped, I just don't know what happened. I'm not going to say Derek gave up, but maybe because his punch is harder than I think. I don't know. I really don't know. It just seemed weird. It seemed very weird. He just went down, got jumped on, got pummeled, fight over. I don't know where either of these gentlemen go. Heavyweight's a very weird division. We first need to see Tom get back, heal his eye up, if he can even see, and then run it back with Cyril, and then we see where everyone else gets matched up. But it was a finish, I guess. Next, Rose Namajunas, Natalie Silva. I knew this is how it was going to go. Again, Rose has every tool in the book to be a champion. She's a two-time champion. She's an incredible champion. But also in her mind, it just depends on what's going to happen. What you saw earlier in the match was two very good elite strikers trying to outstrike each other. Okay, when two strikers try to outstrike each other, there's two ways it goes about it. It's either high volume or it's a feint fest. You watch enough kickboxing and you'll see. And usually with MMA fighters, when they're two strikers, it's usually a feint fest. And that's what the first round was. The first round was a feint fest. Very hard to really gauge and really decide who was winning. It wasn't as bad as like Rose Namajunas versus Carla Esparza. I tried to delete that fight from my mind. Thank God for the Charles and Gaethje fight that happened after it, because that was a letdown. But it wasn't that bad where they threw absolutely nothing. But it really was a feint fest in that first round, depending on who you want to give it to. Could have went either way. Second round, I'm pretty sure that was Rose. But that third round, it was kind of like the same thing with the Yadong and O'Malley fight, in the sense of Silva came alive. She was explosive. She started putting combinations together. She started putting strikes together. Rose just couldn't figure out how to deal with the pressure. And once that ball gets spinning, sometimes when you get strikers that are volume strikers, it just takes one combo. When they find that range, and once that ball rolls downhill, it is wraps. It is over. GG's. Good night. That's what happened. Rose didn't get knocked out, but that round was won. Silva's on her way up in the rankings. And Rose, I'm not saying it's time for her to retire, but I don't really know where she goes from here. I really don't. But wherever she goes, I would give it to her. That's Thug Rose, an incredible fighter, a legendary fighter. The fights with Joanna, the fights with Zhang. There's so many things that you can say about her and how she was just an absolute monster. She's always going to be that what if. Her psychology and her brain needs to be studied. How she can be a monster at 1 second and then not as confident, depending. But whatever it is, the fact of the matter is she's still one of the greatest of all time. And if she can do that with all the mental struggles that she's dealt with and still rise and be a two-time champion, she's got my respect. And so I don't know if this is the end. I don't know where she's going after this. But all I know is that wherever she's doing, it eventually is going to lead to the Hall of Fame. You got to love Thug Rose. Finally, we got Arnold Allen versus John Silva. Fun fight. We knew it was going to be a fun fight. Allen is a gamer. Yeah, that's a dog. That's a scrapper. He comes in to fight. He really does. And John Silva's a crackhead, a madman. We just don't know what's going on inside that brother's head. I don't want to know what's going on inside that brother's head. If anything is going on in that brother's head, he's a very smart guy. But when he's in that thing, I think he's going off. He's not a guy. I think he's going off a pure instinct at this point. But what you see is this. I think it's another situation where Arnold really does a great job of putting combinations together. He was standing and meeting Silva in the middle of the octagon. He was putting in work on Silva. He really was. But the problem is, Silva hits like a freight train. I think Silva's power can go up to 45. You might even see it do some damage up at 55. He can really hit hard. And he's so unpredictable. His strikes, he just flows with certain things. Silva will miss something and then come in with a spinning backhand. Like, he'll overthrow a cross, and then just at the point where the cross is overthrown, turn it, hit you with a backhand, hit you with a spinning back hit. You don't know what you're gonna get out of him. I mean, literally at the end of the fight, he jumped on Arnold Allen and surfed him. The man is a madman, so we don't know. But once he finds that groove, he's really putting in work. I think it was kind of reminiscent of what happened with Diego Lopez in that second round, where he was really piecing up Diego. The good thing about it is he didn't overthrow, and Arnold didn't catch it with anything that actually knocked him out. Now, here's the thing. The good thing about it is that Arnold doesn't have a style, and it kind of plays into that. He doesn't have a style where he's also unpredictable. Diego has a style where you never know what he's going to do either. So when those two got in there, you knew it was going to get a finish. You didn't know when or how, but you knew that if someone overextended, the other person had another crazy thing in their arsenal that they can pull out too. Arnold's a very technical, kind of conventional fighter. So I wasn't expecting, once the pressure to come on, for him to pull out anything crazy too. But he really put it on him. The damage was starting to show. You could feel the impact in those punches. Silva gets the job done. He moves up in the rankings. Listen, the fight nerds, and they've had a skip, but they really are still elite. We just got to see what happens when they run it back. I would be interested to see after this Lopez and Volkanovski fight what they do with Silva. Does he get a title shot of this? I don't think so. But man, that fight with Lopez was so good. We'll see. We shall see, okay? UFC 324 is in the books, but UFC 325 will be live next week. Volkanovski versus Lopez. I'm going to come out with an episode where I pick the winners of that, but I do think that's going to be an insane fight. And I thought this was going to be Volk's retirement fight. He said unless something goes horribly wrong, I ain't planning on retiring. So thank God, I will always love Alexander Volkanovski. So we'll see that fight. Now on a Saturday night's main event. Man, this might have been the best Saturday night's main event that WWE has put on since its current inception and new run. It really is. There was actually stakes in this one. This wasn't just some filler episode, some non-canon episode. It was a banger from start to finish. We're going to break it down. Well, the first thing about it being Cody Rhodes versus Jacob Fatu. What an amazing way to start the show. There was no match. It was just a brawl. Now, I was going to be pissed because I don't believe the fans should pay their hard-earned money because, listen, you know how much these tickets cost for WWE events. I don't believe that fans should pay their hard-earned money to go to shows and then they get like a no-contest finish. There's not really enough wrestling. It kind of just advances the storyline. I don't believe in that. If you're going to advertise somebody on the card, put them on the card, and they got to go out there and work. And let it work for something. This is the perfect way to do it. Jacob and Cody didn't even start the bell. Started throwing hands immediately. Nothing but air and opportunity. Jacob put in work on Cody. Cody put in work on Jacob. We're throwing referees and securities all across the doggone arena. We're going up into the crowd. It was 20 minutes of total nonstop action. Pure madness. Love it. Fans got their money's worth. Ended with Drew McIntyre putting both of them through a table, standing tall. Beautiful way to protect both guys. No one had to take a pin. No one had to win or lose. And now I don't know what's going to happen because this whole road to WrestleMania has been unpredictable, which I love after Drew dropped the title, especially on the SmackDown side, because guess what? Sammy's supposed to fight Drew at the Royal Rumble. Who wins that? I mean, I think Drew wins, but it's Sammy and Saudi. You know? Who knows? On top of that, you got Jacob and Cody. Do they just do a triple threat between them? But then what happens to Sami Zayn? You got Trick and Randy. And it's beautiful. I don't know what's going to happen. Great. That's what we like to see. That's what we like to see. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the Royal Rumble. I think it's going to be absolutely phenomenal and amazing. Okay, now the next thing we have to say is the tag team match. Rio versus the Judgment Day, Roxanne and Liv Morgan. Listen, there are certain people when I get on and I watch wrestling, I put everything down to watch them because I know they're going to put on an absolute heater. These four women are like that. Time to give Liv her flowers. She can go in that ring. She can hoop. She's one of the best in the world. She's incredible. She's clean. She's precise, proficient. She gets the in-ring part too of the psychology, her facial expressions. She can go. She's athletic. My goodness. Roxanne, to be at her age, is incredible. Wrestles like a veteran. Wouldn't even know that she's under the age of 25. Roxanne is a monster at this. And you already know Io is probably the best women's wrestler. And maybe you can even say the best wrestler, period, in the world. And Rhea, if you want to sit there and hate and act like she's just an entrance song or just a fad or just, one of those things where she's a thirst trap, yeah, you're lying. Because she can go in that ring. And these four women put on an incredible match. The interference with Raquel and Stephanie Vaquette. Awesome. They were putting on high spots. It was fun. It was gripping. It was entertaining. This is what I like to see. This is why I'm glad Triple H is doing a great job changing the style of it. And we're going to get into that in 1 second. The WWE style when it comes to TV matches, there was a time where it was extremely boring, formulaic, and it wasn't fun. And AEW was beating them out in the in-ring portion. It is getting to the point where now, listen, they both kind of have different styles, but They're matching up to each other on a week-to-week basis because Triple H is allowing them to cook. He's taking the mindset that he had at NXT and allowing them to do it on the main roster. Because when you let these wrestlers go, they can go. There's so many times that their moveset have been limited once they went to WWE, but now Triple H is really allowing them to release themselves and express themselves in that ring. They were given adequate enough time, so many near falls, really got your heart racing, and the right team was picked. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. I think Liv wins the Rumble. I do think Liv Morgan wins the Rumble. I do. I hope she does. And then I hope Raquel beats Stephanie on the road to WrestleMania. You see what I'm going? You see where I'm going? Sorry. You see where I'm going? Cinema. All right, now, match of the night. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. This means something to me. What a beautiful display of professional wrestling. This match means something to them because you had the Wrestle Kingdom 11 match over a decade ago where they put on an absolute banger. Hard-hitting affair. One of the matches of the year in New Japan. Now, you understand that New Japan works a different style of wrestling than WWE does. A strong style. It's a lot hard-hitting. A lot more hard-hitting. A lot more real and impactful. Even though WWE style is real and impactful. They come to the company. They get in a feud. We're excited because we're going to see them in a WrestleMania match for the WWE Championship. What a fever dream. It just didn't live up. It didn't live up to what it was supposed to live up to. I don't know why it fell flat, and the rest of the feud fell flat with the heel turn of Shinsuke and all that stuff. And Shinsuke should have just won that feud. But this was redemption. This was a beautiful match. This was strong style at its finest. I mean, the striking felt real. AJ clocked Shinsuke with a knee that would have rattled the gods themselves. It means more. And the fact that Shinsuke is sitting in the back and catering when he can do this, it just makes me sick. And it also makes me sick that AJ is probably going to be retiring at the Royal Rumble after putting on a show like that. That man can still put on a 5-star match. He has it all. Those two really put on a banger. They put on a heater. And it was great to see them bump fists and give a nod back to their Wrestle Kingdom match. And that is why I respect Triple H for allowing them to go out there and wrestle the way that they want to wrestle. Heck of a match, boys. They were given time. They did not waste it. And they gave the fans their money worth. And the people in Montreal got to truly witness an incredible match. It's a love letter to wrestling in the same way that the AJ and Cena match was. Just in different ways. And I think this is the end for AJ. And if this is the end, what a phenomenal career. Pun intended. Finally, the Fatal 4-Way. Great, fun. Snme wins. I got no problem with it. Snme goes on to the Royal Rumble. What does he do? Does he win? Does he lose to Drew? We don't know. Some people think he loses to Drew, then wins the Rumble. I just don't know what's going to happen. And I love every second of this. What if Snme wins in Saudi? Am I mad at that? Do I want Drew to have that short of a title? He could get it back. The plans are, I think I've heard, is that Drew should be coming into WrestleMania as champion. I'm excited. You know, after 2025, I needed the WWE to come alive. I needed them to figure out what they were going to do to rebound because AEW was on fire that year. And I don't believe that Triple H is a bad booker. I believe he had a bad booking year, and I believe there's some things he needs to work on as far as like long-term storytelling. Not every story has to be a 4-year buildup. But I believe that he can still put in work and still do incredible things. I believe in Triple H. I know he's not without criticism, but I believe in Triple H and what he can do. And if people sit there and say that this is worse than mid-2000s WWE, you're smoking crack. Shut up. That's not true at all. You weren't there. There's a reason why a lot of people stopped watching in the mid-2000s. This is not nearly as bad. But it's not good either. But 2026, these last 3 weeks have been pretty exciting, especially on the SmackDown front. And I think we're in for a good year. And if AEW can be amazing and WWE can be amazing, we're going to eat as wrestling fans. But that's it for me today. Tune in on the next episode of The Knockout with Niles Niseem. We got a lot of things to talk about. We'll be talking about Rumble predictions, UFC 325 predictions, Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite. and all the fallout from UFC 324 as well. Stick with me. We're going to be in for a ride. I love you guys. I'll see you soon.